Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Success Mentorship class number 335. This is Dr. Herbert Harris, and we're going to have a ball today. I'm excited about our guest speaker, Dawn Lovell from Barbados, and her powerful topic, the power of your ask. In the Bible, it says, ask and you shall receive, but it doesn't say how long. The beauty is you ask until it's received. So Dawn is going to share a powerful message. I want to remind everybody that this is our Saturday morning experience and you can join us to share in the message and in the powerful discussions that happen. Also invite you to visit our website, www.herbertharris.com, and you can get a copy of the 12 Universal Laws of Success and learn about so many of the other programs that we're doing. If you need a success consultation, something to help get you back on track, then book a call with me for a complimentary consultation. So now let's get right into the reason that we're here today. Before we get started, though, I'd like to do our meditation to help us get centered, to help us prepare our minds for receiving the message. So sit straight up in your seats. Close your outer eye. Open your inner eyes. Take a deep breath and hold it. Let it out slowly. Take a deep breath and hold it. Let it out slowly. And in this space of peace and relaxation, I am at peace with myself. Let us affirm that together. I am at peace with myself. Take a deep breath. Just let it out slowly as you bask in the peace of the moment. In this state of peace and this state of relaxation, our minds are open, receptive, and ready to learn. My mind is open, receptive, and ready to learn. Let us affirm that together. My mind is open, receptive, and ready to learn. Just let that sink in. Take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. And so it is. Wow. All right. This day, Dawn and I go back to one of our early seminars many years ago, and she was just a absolute beautiful student. Everybody is, I guess, different as a student, but there's always that one student that really, it says that student says, I got it. Not only do I have it, I'm going to work with it. So Dawn, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this presentation today and for all the time and energy you put into making it happen.
Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Harris. Good morning, everyone. It is always my pleasure to be here. It is always an honor, Dr. Harris, to be on this platform. For you, allow me to be on this platform. And I pray that whatever I do, it brings, justice to what you've done so far and what you continue to do. I am a student. I am always a student, and I've learned so much from you. So thank you so much. And I'm hoping that everyone, after that powerful meditation, that we are all engaged, we are all present, and we are ready to learn. I'm certainly ready to learn. I'm learning from the message I prepared. So how many of you know that the message is always for you first? So today, my topic is the power of your ask. And as usual, Dr. Harris reached out. He's always like, "What's your topic, Dawn?" And I'm like, "I don't know yet." But this particular topic, it was one that was in my spirit for a while. And there's a reason because I recognize that there is so much power in your ability to ask. Let me break that down for you. One of the biggest hindrances in my life I've recognized is my unwillingness to ask. My unwillingness to ask. Asking questions can actually change your life. Asking questions can actually catapult your life. Asking for what you desire means that now there's an awareness from others that there's something that you require or something that you need. So I'm sure all of you that are listening to me on Facebook, Instagram, wherever you're going to listen to this message, all of us are on a success journey. All of us want to move forward. We're on a path of evolving. And we know that one of the most important things, one of the key things to our success is knowledge. Knowledge is key. There's a scripture that says people perish for the lack of knowledge. And how many of you know that in our lives, many things perish because we don't have the knowledge? Do you know that people's dreams perish? People's relationships perish just because they don't ask questions, just because they don't have the knowledge, just because they don't have the information that they need to move forward. So that's why this is my topic today, the power of your ask. And the thing is when you're going to ask for something, when you're going to ask a question, there is a way to do it. And many of us don't think about that. Like, how many of you have been afraid to ask questions? As I said, throughout my life, I tried to figure out things on my own. I always figured, you know what, Dawn, you need to figure this out. If you figure it out, then it makes you feel like, you've achieved something, you've accomplished something. How many of us have been in a classroom and when we were young and we were afraid to ask questions because we thought it would make us look stupid? We thought all the other kids would laugh at us. We thought the teacher would think, "Oh, this person is dumb." No, I want to say to you today, there is power in asking questions. The thing is that there are things you don't know, but you don't know that you don't know them. You don't know, but you don't know that you don't know. So you're ignorant. You're ignorant to the path of your success. You're ignorant to where your breakthrough is. You're ignorant to how to move forward. So today I'm going to give you the 5 W's of asking. The 5 W's. Those 5 W's are the why. Why should I ask? What should I ask? The way I should ask, who I should ask, and when I should ask. Because there's a strategy, there's a system behind everything. And when we're asking questions, we're not just randomly asking questions. We want to make sure that we're asking questions to get a particular result. There's a particular outcome that we want to achieve. So not just randomly asking questions. While asking questions is good, there's an art to it. So let's start with the why first. Why should I ask questions? And I'm hoping that after we finish this, that you take this system and you implement it in your life. It will transform your life. I'm telling you, I'm implementing this in my own life. Why should you ask questions? Questions help you become clearer. As I was sharing with Dr. Harris earlier, there's so many things I've wanted to do. Since I've met Dr. Harris, how many years ago that was? There's so many ideas I've had. There's so many things I've realized. There's so much I've grown and evolved. And I get ideas, like what you call a dime a dozen. Sometimes I'm sitting and a word comes to me, and I've always wondered, okay, what do I do with this? What do I do with this? Do I do this with this? Do I do that? Do I start this business? Should I hold it? Is it not the right season? Questions help you to become clearer. You have to ask yourself questions sometimes. The next reason is asking. When you ask and the why, it helps you to identify areas you may be missing. So this is why you ask questions, because there may be some blind spots, there may be some gaps. And you're not going to know unless you ask a question. Thirdly, asking questions, and this is one of the most important, it shortens the knowledge gap. Oh my goodness. It shortens the learning curve. Can you imagine? I used to sit in my office at work and they would give me a project and I would sit and they would say, Dawn, you're gonna figure this out. Dawn, you're gonna figure this out. You're not moving till you figure this out. When I could have simply asked a question. I thought by sitting and figuring it out, it made me brighter. It made me more intelligent. It made people look at me differently because yes, Dawn figured it out. But the time it took to figure that thing out, I could have done so much more. So why do you ask questions? It shortens the knowledge gap and it saves you so much more time. It helps you to make decisions faster. And you know what? It makes you smarter. You know, we think that asking questions makes us seem dumb or stupid or illiterate, or we have this fear of people thinking, well, oh, that person doesn't know. What asking questions does, it really makes you smarter. It really does. So, as I said, one of my biggest setbacks, and I want you to remember this, and while I'm going through this session, I want you to really look at yourself because one of my biggest setbacks was my reluctance to ask questions, and it cost me so much time. Second, the what. So you might be saying, yes, Dawn, so ask questions, but what do I ask? What do I ask? First of all, you need to sit. And what is it that you need to know? Where are you on your success journey? Why we don't know what to ask is because we have limited our exposure. We have limited our perspective. And I always encourage people, and this is something I learned as well, when you get into new spaces, when you get into new environments, when you're exposed to new persons, when you're exposed to a different tribe, a different way of understanding, then you will have questions. If you stay in your box, in your home, in your office, in your job, and just limit yourself to a particular environment, then there's nothing more that you need to know because you don't know that there's nothing that you don't know. You've not been exposed. So you need to be exposed. When you're exposed to different experiences, then you will have questions. You'll be like, how does that work? How did you do this? Because this is something I never knew before. I was never exposed to it. Exposure helps you to ask questions. It helps you to identify the questions you need to ask. Thirdly, now there's a way to ask. There is a way. You might say, okay, so yes, Dawn, I'm asking questions, but are you using the right way, the optimal way of asking questions, the more effective way to ask questions? So first of all, when you're asking a question, you need to be eager. You need to be curious. Persons need to see your enthusiasm when you're asking. Secondly, before you ask a question, you need to find out what is it that I really want to know, because your questions need to be very clear and very specific. The most challenging is for somebody to come to you and they have a question, but the way they're talking, you're saying, get to the question. What is it that you want to know? So instead of all the fluff and all of this, and you're going, I'm Barbies, we say you go around the world and you come back. You're going all around the world before you land the plane. You need to be very specific and clear. What is it that I need to ask? Because what is the outcome that I want? What is the result? When I ask this question, what am I looking for? What is the answer? You need to ask confidently. Again, many people ask and they're very sheepish when they ask questions because they're like, this is going to make me look less than. So we're thinking about what everybody else is going to think when we ask a question. No, we need to ask boldly. We need to be confident in our ask. That's the power behind our ask. We need to be confident. We need to be bold but humble. What does that mean? We are confident, but we're going as a student. We're not asking like if we know. We're asking to learn. We're asking, and in our ask, we're saying, I want to know. I want to learn. Before asking your questions, do your research. Now, let me give you an example. Suppose there's a great mentor like Dr. Harris. He's very busy, has so many things going on, and you decide there's some I would like to have some time with Dr. Harris. There's some questions I would like to ask him. Now, he's a busy guy. He doesn't have the time for you to go all around the world before you land the plane. You need to sit down and think, what is it? If I have 5 minutes with Dr. Harris, what are the questions? What are the burning questions that I need to ask? What are some of the most important things that I need to know? You write those down. And when you have that 5 minutes, you maximize it. You maximize that 5 minutes. Always be cognizant of the person's time. That also shows your preparedness. And I trust me when I tell you, when you come into that space with that person and you've done your research and you're very pointed and clear and specific in your questions, it shows that you are ready to learn. Why? Because you have prepared. It shows you are cognizant of my time. Why? Because you've taken the time to write things down clearly and specifically and ask those pointed questions. You know, here's a script, that for some persons that might be listening, because you still might not be sure how to do that. As I said, for instance, if you came to Dr. Harris and you wanted to talk to him, you've never met him before in your life, and you have this one opportunity, you can say something like, I've been watching you for a while and I really admire you. I admire your growth. I see the things you're doing, and I would love to be able to learn from you. Would you consider giving me 5 minutes of your time? Simple. Pointed question. You come to the person, you don't take very long, you let them know that you are interested. You have been watching them, you've been admiring them. There's something that they have that you want. And respectfully, can I have a couple minutes of your time? That's the way you ask. Now we're going to move on to number 4. Who do you ask? Who do you ask? In life, we will encounter all types of people, depending on where you are in your journey, depending on what you need. Seek out persons who can best answer your questions. We can ask the right questions to the wrong people.
Mhm.
We can ask the wrong questions to the right people. And we can ask the wrong questions to the wrong people. Ultimately, we want to ask the right questions to the right people. So look for persons that are experts. Persons are on a journey that are ahead of you. They are where you want to go. Those are the kind of people, because we're on a journey. If you're starting a business, you look for a successful businessman. If you see someone that has a great marriage and you want to have a great marriage, you seek out a person that has a great marriage. Now, you're not going to talk to your girlfriend who has had, 3 divorces and she's on her fourth. Are you going to ask her questions about having a great marriage? I think not. You need to seek out persons that are experts, that are masters in their field. Now, you can also ask peers, but I always say to persons, when you're going to ask questions or when you're going to approach a person, you need to be observant. You need to watch. You need to observe that person from afar first. It always says when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And one of the things you need to do is you need to look up beyond appearances. You need to look beyond casual words. The good book says, you shall know them by their fruit. You need to examine the fruit. What is it that they're producing? What are the results? Are they just talk? Or are you seeing the fruit being produced? You can always follow the fruit. Fifthly, when do you ask? Know when to ask questions. Now, depending on the situation, now, like if you're in a classroom and the teacher is right there and you have a burning question, I'm not going to say you should stop and wait, because you waiting could be between you having an answer there and then when you need it, and that answer being not getting that answer on that particular day. So depending on the situation, you must know when to ask. Now, asking in the right time can yield you great results. Assess your environment. Now, I had a boss, and many times when persons wanted to ask questions, they would just go to her door, they'd knock on the door, excuse me, and they would start off. And one of the things I learned is that she would look up at you, she would acknowledge you, she would put her head back down, she would continue doing what she's doing. And in her responses, it usually was a a nod the head. So I recognized, and people would come back and I said, but she didn't answer my question. I said, because You do not understand the power of the timing of asking a question. So I would always say, do you have a few minutes that I can speak with you? And she would say, oh, sure. Or she would say, not right now, Dawn. And she would create that space and time in order for us to chat. And when I go in there and I sit down in front of her, I had her full attention. That's the when you need to assess the environment. Right timing is very important to the power of your ask and the power of your answer. Make sure the person is present. Make sure that the environment is not one that's interrupted, particularly if there's a burning question you have and you really need clarity. It's not just a random question. This is something that can be life-changing. So you need to make sure that you're cognizant of that person's time. Set a time with them that you can sit, you can be engaged, they can be engaged, and you both can be present in the conversation. I want to tell you, if you were to implement these 5 skills, I call them 5 skills because asking question is a skill that we need to develop. We need to know how to ask better questions. It is not just about seeking information. You know, we are in a world where there's so much information. There's information, social media, there's information everywhere. But there's a difference between information and knowledge. Information is the basis of knowledge, but what knowledge does is takes that information and you're able to utilize it in a way that you can advance quicker. Asking good questions helps to get you in rooms that you would have never been in before. Asking good questions changes your perspective, and it can change a person's perspective of you. Asking questions, it is not a reducer because we believe that it makes us look smaller. It makes us look incompetent. It makes me look incapable. It makes me look ignorant. No, it is not a reducer. It is an enhancer. Asking good questions will enhance you. It will be a great part of your growth and development process. It is one of the most underrated skills. And in order for you to ask good questions as well, you need to be curious. Curiosity is an attribute that we need to develop. Children are always curious. You know, you would have kids, you have toddlers, you have young children, and they would always be asking questions. Mommy, why did you do that? Daddy, why did you do that? What is this for? What am I doing? What are you doing? And we always get a little, we get a little frustrated. Oh my goodness, you ask so many questions. That's what we need to get back to. Asking questions and being curious. Curiosity is the desire to learn, understand, or know more about something or someone. It is a fundamental trait, human trait that drives exploration, discovery, and the acquisition of knowledge. Oh my goodness, curiosity is so underrated. It is the desire to learn, the desire to understand, and to know more about something or someone. It is pivotal in your life journey. It is pivotal to your exploration. It is pivotal to your discovery. It is pivotal to your acquisition of knowledge. Curiosity is what powers inventions. Curiosity is what brings breakthroughs. You have to be curious. You have to be curious about life. You have to be curious about your destiny. You have to be curious about what's happening around you. How does this relate to me? How is this relevant to my life? When we don't ask questions, we stay in a place of darkness, of unknowing. So, there's a breakthrough waiting for you today. I believe that. And that is going to be the power of your ask. That one
Don, you froze up there for a moment. Just
either
slow down.
want to shift your life forever. So I encourage you, the 5 W's of asking powerful questions. the why, the what, the way to ask, the who to ask, and the when to ask. And if you implement these, I can assure you, your life, your perspective will change. You know, there is a quote that we say here in Barbados. I don't know if they say it in other parts of the world, but they say closed mouths don't get fed. Closed mouths. Dr. Harris is nodding, so I figured this is one that is universal. Closed mouths don't get fed. But can I tell you as well? Closed mouths, a closed mouth will also kill your dreams. It will kill your goals. Because remember, without knowledge, people perish. Without knowledge, your dreams will perish. Without asking, your goals will perish. Without asking, your destiny can perish because you don't know what you don't know. And to know, you need to ask because there are those that have walked this path before you and they have the answers to all of the questions that you have. And while some of those answers may be within you, there's some of those answers that are outside of you. And you need to be humble enough to ask the questions that you need to ask in order to advance your life. So that is it for me today. The power of your ask. My goodness, I learned something. I wrote those down. I have my notes. And I pray that you too would have learned something from this message today. You know, it's so important that every time we receive a message, and it doesn't matter the vessel, because different vessels will bring different messages, but it's so important that whenever a person brings a message, that you glean from that message, because again, this is part of the curiosity, this is a part of the gaining knowledge, this is part of what is necessary. And you don't know what you don't know, but by listening and by asking a question, you may be able to identify that there's something that I didn't know that I know now. So may God bless you. Thank you so much, Dr. Harris. As always, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for listening. And of course, now I'm going to turn over to Dr. Harris.
Wow. 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 Dawn, I got pages of notes. Thank you so much, Dawn. Wow, what an incredible, it's so beautiful when you lay it out so that you can get it. When you lay it out in such a way that it just flows. So thank you so much, Dawn. I know I can see people taking notes and moving through that. Thank you so much for each one of those 5 points. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for taking it upon yourself to put it together.